Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just making sure I'm live. I am. And Jackie, hopefully you can hear us now because we weren't talking before. We only started at 8. Welcome to the Network Migration webinar on, New Zealand. I was going to say Australia. New Zealand this evening. For those of you who've never met me or don't know me, my name is Andrew Kerr, and I'm a licensed advisor for Australia and New Zealand. I am a New Zealander. I lived in New Zealand for 20 years and then I moved to Australia. I loved Australia. I spent 10 years there. And then in 1990, I came to South Africa on a business contract for the company I was working for at the time, which was a publishing house. And that was a 2-year contract. And after my 2-year contract had expired or ran out, I didn't necessarily want to go back to Australia and New Zealand at that stage. So I found a job working for Network Migration Services as a seminar presenter back in those days. And then in 1996, I had an opportunity to purchase the company, so I did. And I'm really proud to say that after 33 years of living in South Africa, we've immigrated now upwards of 15,000 families from the African continent into Australia and New Zealand. And we have a 99.5% success rate. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, there's really no reason the applications should fail to these countries if you follow the procedures that I'm just about to talk about. Now, on that subject, if you want to have a consultation with me, Ruan, and thank you, by the way, Ruan, for organising tonight, as always. Ruan is our marketing manager, and we're doing it through Crowdcast. By the way, everybody will be sent a recording of this webinar tomorrow. Everybody that's booked, we've got 199 people booked with us tonight, and it's slowly increasing. We're up towards 100 listening to us so far. But if you want to have an assessment done, all our assessments and consultations are free. We don't charge for it, okay? So if you want to have an assessment done, I need you to email me your CVs, please, or the questions you'd like me to answer. So my email address was put in earlier. There it is there. Thanks, Ron. Andrew@networkmigration.com. Now, all our emails are our first names at networkmigration.com. Network is proud to have, I think we've got about 19 team members that work for the company. We have 2 based in New Zealand. We have 1 based in Cape Town, and the other 16 odd work from our offices up the road here in Johannesburg, just in the Four Ways area, just past Monte Casino. So I need your CV sent to me. I need to know the structures of your family. So if you're single, clearly you're single. You can log on to our website or just send me the CVs directly. And then I just need to know, hi, Andrew, it's Michael. I'm 40-odd years old. I've got a 38-year-old spouse, and we have 2 9-year-old children. I just need to know the structures of your family in order to be able to send you the correct processes and the correct way of applying for visas, be them residency, be them work, be them student, be them partner or whatever. There's really not a visa we don't do, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I just wanted to welcome Liz Fullewen. Liz is joining us tonight. She won't be joining me in the chat room, but Liz will be answering your questions. Liz is a provisionally licensed advisor working under myself at the moment, and currently she's had her first full year of licensing requirements, and she's got 2 years left. But Liz will be answering your questions tonight. And then we've also got Xenia, who's also listening. Xenia is one of our key personnel. They're all key personnel, but Xenia, of course, is one of our people that's going to help you guys find a job. And I'll talk about that in a minute when I talk about the job search processes and how that actually works. And then who else was on? Oh, welcome to Stephen. Stephen Stolz has been with the company a long time now, 8-9 years, Stephen. And Stephen was a file manager, is now working very closely with Ruan and our marketing side of the business. And Stephen does a lot of our follow-through work with clients that have received pathways. So you might get a little friendly WhatsApp or call from Stephen just asking where you're at with the migration process. You'll notice on the first slide there that I'm a member of the New Zealand Association for Migration and Investment, NZAMI, and I'm also IAA registered. And there's my license number at the bottom left, just above some of our service providers. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to use an advisor or going to use a company, please make sure that the very first person you always speak to with that company is licensed. Why? Because if it's a non-licensed advisor, they're breaking the law. Okay, you've got to have that initial contact with a licensed advisor. It's the law. In South Africa, I'm not going to mention the names of companies. There's a couple of companies here that get away with murder and allowing non-licensed advisors to give immigration advice, and they use all these brilliant excuses like, no, well, my licensed advisor has said that I can say that's BS, guys. Make sure that your first consultation is always with the licensed advisor, because it protects you. When you pay an advisor or licensed advisor's company, your money's held in trust, and that money can only be drawn against as certain goals outlined in your service agreement are achieved through the process. So please always make sure you're using a licensed advisor. I would never bag another organisation, but as I said, there are a couple in this country I wouldn't touch with a 40-foot barge pole. But that's my personal opinion, based on 33 years experience. So I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's go to the next slide. That's myself, and this is Desiree Lindeque. Desiree is our New Zealand operations manager and also a licensed advisor, and she runs our New Zealand branch, and she's the operations manager of our South African team as well. Desiree, well, I've got 19 team members that work for Network Migration, 2 in New Zealand, 1 in Cape Town, and the other 16 odd are in our offices up the road here, which in the Fourways area just past Monte Casino. If you do want to be assessed for any type of visa, and when I say any, I'm talking any, doesn't matter, skilled migrant, student, entrepreneur, business, investment, accredited employer work visa, visitor's visa for job search, spousal visa, parent visa, permanent residency, please, telling you up front, your assessments are completely free. We do not charge for them. So if you want to be assessed, you need to send me an email. Ruan put the email in there earlier, but all our emails are our first names at networkmigration.com. So mine is Andrew at networkmigration.com. Liz would be Liz at networkmigration.com. Steve would be Steve at you're getting the point, okay? So if you want to be assessed, I need to see your CVs, please. I don't care what they look like, all right? They're not going anywhere. They're only coming to me. They don't even need to be, I mean, reasonably updated, but not, of course, fully updated, if you like. And once I've assessed you, please just also, when you send me your CVs, just give me your family structure, so I know that you're in a relationship and you've got children, or et cetera, because I need to quote you accordingly on doing all the relevant visas that yourself and your family would require. So when you send me your CVs, if you're in a relationship, please send me both, because quite often it's a mixture that you might get the job offer, but your spouse is the main applicant for residency, which is doable. Excuse me, it can be done that way. So please send me your CVs, and just in a one-line email, say, Andrew, I'm 42, my wife's 38, we've got a 9 and a 13-year-old child. And then I know what type of visas I need to quote you on, be them student, spousal, parent, visitors, et cetera, et cetera. So as I said from the previous slide, there is not a visa that we can't assist you with. Now, we are one of the few agencies, if not the only agency that I'm aware of, that has their own recruitment company in New Zealand. Our recruitment company is called NMS Recruit R, and it is run by us from here, and also the New Zealand team, and Liz Fullewen and Senia van Rooyen are in charge of running that business. And we put a tremendous amount of emphasis on helping you find a job. Okay? Now, Xenia, who you'll meet clearly if you engage our services, let me just explain what happens. If you engage us, within the first week, you receive a starter pack. And quite simply, that's a document checklist. What do we need from you in order to make a successful application? What documents do we require from you? And it's obvious stuff, ladies and gentlemen: birth certificates, partnership proof, qualifications if you've got them, work experience proof, police clearances, I already said passports, etc., etc. So documents that we require in order to submit an application once you accept a job offer. Because if you're going on a skilled migrant visa, which is the one I'm going to mainly talk about tonight, you are not going to be able to lodge an application to New Zealand without a job offer. You might say, well, hold on, I'm already sitting. I've got my, I'll explain later, but I've got my 6 points. Residency is 6 points. Well, you still can't lodge the application without the job offer. So that's why we put a tremendous amount of effort on helping you find a job. Now, there are 3 reasons an application will fail. You fail the medical. So if you have a medical issue, you need to tell me about it. Okay, privately, of course, because this would not be shared with anybody bar myself. or a criminal record. It'd have to be a pretty major criminal record for you to actually be declined. I mean, we've all maybe had speeding fines, or you might have a DUI against you, or you got caught 20 years ago punching a guy in the pub because he chatted up your girlfriend or whatever. I mean, I need to know if you've ever been charged with a crime. So please, and if your spouse doesn't know that you, I still need to know. So you need to let me know that, okay? So the 3 reasons it would fail is you fail the medical, you fail the police record check, or you fail to find a job. And this is why we put so much time, effort, and money, resources into helping you find a job. Your sessions with Xenia, I mean, you've read it here. By the way, everybody will get a recording of this video tomorrow, this webinar tomorrow. If you've had struggles, and I don't know why you had struggles at the beginning, but thank God you're not having struggles now listening to me. But so, and take a screenshot of the pages. If you're watching on your phone, just take a screenshot of your phone or camera. If you're watching on your laptop, just take a screenshot. But you will be getting a recording of this video tomorrow. So if you come on board, in the first week, you receive a starter pack, which is a document checklist. But you're also handed over to the job search training team virtually straight away within the first 2 weeks. And Xenia will contact you because she will be rewriting your CVs and introducing you to LinkedIn. Because in New Zealand, LinkedIn is massive. A lot of businesses use LinkedIn, and a lot of our clients get jobs via LinkedIn. Okay, so we're going to try. Probably already got LinkedIn profiles, but you possibly don't use them in the manner that you should be using. So we're going to be giving you training on how to get a job in New Zealand. Okay. Now, this is just to give you an example of some of the urgent vacancies that are in New Zealand. If you're one of these people, it's very likely that you're going to get a job while you're offshore. Okay. And as you can see, this particular slide really just concentrates on the healthcare sector. There are certain occupations that getting a job offshore is easy, but they're few and far between. Heavy-duty diesel mechanics, for example, early childhood teachers, maybe secondary school teachers, depending on what subjects you teach. Clearly, most occupations in the healthcare sector, as you can see on that particular slide. But as I mentioned, there are 3 reasons this application will fail: health, criminal, or you don't get a job. So I tell all my clients this. If you are not prepared to hop on a plane and travel to New Zealand to find a job, then don't start this process. And why do I say that? Guys, I've been in this business for 30 years, okay? 85 to 90% of people do not get jobs offshore. They don't, all right? Why? Because it's the old adage of, I'd like to shake the person's hand, please, or meet the person I'm going to hire. Yes, technology today allows us to use Zoom, Skype, Teams, Google Meet, whatever. There's so many virtual ways to meet nowadays, it's frightening. And a lot of companies are getting used to that, especially through COVID, because, of course, you couldn't fly through COVID. And through the COVID crisis in the last year, when the borders were being open, we got over 150 people job offers in a 4 or 5 month period because they couldn't fly. But most companies still want to meet you face to face, especially if you're going for a high-end income role. If I'm going to be paying somebody $130,000 a year plus, which is 1.4, 1.5 million rand a year, I'd pretty much like to meet them. Okay. So be aware that I will be saying to you, I don't care what you do, even if you are a diesel mechanic, and I could probably get you a job tomorrow if you're a diesel mechanic. But the point is, I'll be telling everybody, if you do not find a job in 1, 2, 3, 6, 8, 9, 12 months, because that time limit is set by you, then I'll be saying, right, I need you in New Zealand. Let's do a visitor's visa. Let's get you over there. And it's a visitor's visa with specific purpose. It allows you to enter New Zealand and look for work. And you don't have to leave. You can leave once you've got the job, because the process will still take about 8 weeks once you've got the job offer, maybe slightly longer. Hopefully they'll get that back down, because it's just gone up in the last month or 2. But you can stay in New Zealand while the work visa is being processed. You don't have to leave, but of course you can't work until the visa has been granted. So I'll go through all of this at a private consult. I consult from Mondays to Saturdays. No charge at all. Once I've sent you the processes, there's no charge for that. And if you want a private consult, which normally lasts about a half an hour, unless it's face-to-face, and then it's about an hour. I mean, when I say face-to-face, I mean in my office. So if you want to come to the office, you need to make an appointment to see me, of course, and I'll slot you into a time zone that suits both of us, and that would last about an hour. And if you want to Google Meet, Zoom, Skype, or Teams, they normally last about 30 to 45 minutes. So whatever suits you, and those consultations are also free. In fact, you don't pay us any money at all at this stage until you officially engage our services. We are considering charging for consults again. We did pre-COVID, but at the moment, until Christmas time, we're just going to leave it as is. In other words, we're very happy to give you free consultations. Now, once you've got the job offer, so let's just pretend you've all got a job offer. You want to have a residency pathway. Now, when you get the job offer, the visa is normally granted to you for 5 years. It's called an accredited employer's work visa. And it's valid for 5 years. But some of you might just want a work visa. You don't want to become residents, but most of you will be going over there thinking, well, okay, I'm going in on my work visa. I understand that, but I'd like to become a resident as soon as possible. If your occupation and qualifications and the job offer meet the requirement of Green List Tier 1, which I'm showing you now, and you can see construction, engineering, health and social services, IT, electronics, telecommunications. If you're on this list and this list, because these were added about a year ago, then you can lodge a residency application straight away. You don't have to do the work visa. You still can do the work visa, but you don't have to. In other words, you could save the money that you were going to spend with Immigration New Zealand on the work visa, which, by the way, the fees go up in 6 days' time. They're doubling. So you could save the money if you're one of these occupations that have the relevant qualifications, the job offer meets the requirements for Green List Tier 1, and your work experience and qualifications and, of course, etc., meet the requirements of Green List Tier 1. You can literally lodge residency straight away, which means you're landing as a resident. Or if you're already there, of course, when the visa's granted, you're being granted residency straight away. Makes sense. It makes sense to do it that way because even though on a work visa, you'll still get free schooling and healthcare, you can't buy property on a work visa. Whereas on a residency visa, of course, you can pretty much do anything a normal New Zealander can do. Okay? Right. So that's one pathway to residency, Green List Tier 1. The other pathway to residency is Green List Tier 2. Now, what that means is these occupations here, take a screenshot again, etc., are eligible for work to residence after 2 years. So you still get the 5-year work visa. And then after 2 years, as long as the job offer you had meets the Green List Tier 2 requirements, as long with your qualifications, etc., then bang, you can lodge a Green List Tier 2 application after 2 years for residency. Okay? So that, excuse me, wrong one. I need to go backwards. All right, so there's your Green List Tier 1. We've done Green List Tier 2. Okay? Now, these lists will change early next year. The Minister of Immigration, the Right Honourable Erica Stanford, will probably add some to the green lists and maybe even take 1 or 2 away. I don't think she'll take away, but I think she'll add to the green list because as you can see at the moment, carpenters, hairdressers, welders, metal machinists, boiler makers, they're not on the list, and they should be. They were going to be put on the list in March this year, and she stalled it. She stalled that decision until early next year, but we're pretty confident that they will be put in on an industry sector. For example, just explaining that, healthcare workers have an industry sector agreement on their own. So do corrections officers. You don't have to be a corrections officer to get a job in corrections, by the way. They're hiring anyone at the moment. Well, that's not quite true, but they're certainly hiring a lot of people at the moment that don't have corrections facilities backgrounds. But anyway, so if you are your own pathway, like caregivers, the caregivers have their own pathway. For example, you get your 5-year visa once you've worked for 2 years and as a caregiver, or of course in corrections, then you can lodge residency. It's very like Green List Tier 2, but it has its own. It's called a forced sector agreement. So it's a sector agreement based on caregivers, or a sector agreement based on corrections employment. Okay. Now, the other ways of getting in are high income, which I'm going to show you now, a job which requires registration, or passing the standard qualifications points test. And the points test is based on salary levels. So excuse me, let me go back here. This is just giving an idea. It's currently sitting at $29.66 for the minimum salary requirement on most occupations. Corrections is different. It's actually less. And so same with caregivers. slightly less. But this just shows you how the minimum wage has increased over the years from January 2018, or the minimum wage requirement. And then you can also see there that there's 1.5 times the minimum wage, which I'm going to be talking about now. If you're earning 1.5 times the minimum wage, you have a pathway to residency from the income you earn. If you're earning 2 times the minimum wage, same thing. So if you're not on Green List Tier 1 or Green List Tier 2, it doesn't mean you can't immigrate. It just means you're going to need 6 points in order to lodge your residency application. And remember, you got 5 years to get those 6 points. So the way of getting points is qualifications, and there you are: doctorate 6, master's 5, bachelor's honours degree is 4, or a bachelor's with a postgraduate diploma is 4, and then of course a level 7 degree level standard degree is 3. So clearly, if you've got a doctorate, you get your 6 points, you get the job offer, we can lodge residency straight away. Okay, if you've got a master's, then you get the job offer. You're going to work for 1 year in New Zealand, because let me show you the next points. When you work for 3 years in New Zealand, you're entitled to 3 points. When you work for 2 years, you're entitled to 2, and 1 year, you're entitled to 1 point. Okay, so if you've got a master's, for example, you're getting 5 points. You've got a 5-year work visa, work in New Zealand for 1 year, lodge residency. If you've got an honours, you're getting 2 points, so work in New Zealand for 2 years, lodging residency. If you've got a standard degree, you're getting 3 points for your degree and 3 points for working in New Zealand for 3 years. Now, remember, if you don't have a qualification, you're on Green List Tier 1 or Green List Tier 2, you might be saying, well, I don't have a qualification. How else can I earn money? Can I get in? Well, you count these points on this slide, and also high income. If you're earning 1.5 times the minimum wage, which is $44.49 an hour, which ends up being $98,500 a year, which a lot of you will be on that type of salary, a bit more than that, then you can claim 3 points for every year, or 1 point for every year you earn it. Okay? So if you have a master's degree and you're earning $110,000 a year, well, you'd actually just use your master's, frankly, because you get in on that. But you have an option of using your salary as well. 2 times the minimum wage is 4 points, and 3 times the minimum wage, which is about $136,000 a year, is 6 points straight up. So if you do happen to get 136 plus, you can lodge residency straight away as well once you've got the job offer. Okay, and then also, if you're in an occupation which requires registration, and there is many occupations that require registration. Sorry, I just want to go back one. Then you can claim 6 points, 5 points, 4 points, or 3 points, depending on, for example, electricians, plumbers, teachers, licensed advisors, builders, construction managers. There's hundreds of occupations that require registration. Although you don't actually have to register to do the work. Some of them you do, of course. I mean, if you're a doctor, you need to be registered. If you're an electrician, you need to be registered. If you're a plumber, you need to be registered, et cetera, et cetera. So there's multiple ways of claiming those extra bonus points. All righty? Or you're in New Zealand. You're going to get 3 points for working there for 3 years anyway. And during those first 3 to 5 years, then upgrade your qualification. Do night school, or do studying through UNISA or something like that. And then you can upgrade your qualification while you're working in New Zealand, earning dollars. Because we all know that, unfortunately, on our side of the world, the rand is not that strong. By the way, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, guys. I've got clients in China, the Ukraine, Russia, and I know that's a bit ironical because they're at war at the moment, Wales, Canada, Philippines, Sri Lanka, India. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, because 99% of what we do is electronic. So as long as you've got a contact number that we can always call you on if we need to, or WhatsApp you on, and of course an email address, doesn't matter where you are in the world. Now, there are 3 divisions of Network Migration Services. One is My Division. My Division does all the visa work. So you can either lodge an application on your own, or if you're lodging it through a third party, that third party has to be licensed. So we can sign off the applications. Desiree and I, and Liz is about a week away from being able to sign off applications. She's just waiting for a police clearance to clear in New Zealand. So it's got to be submitted by a licensed advisor. So my team prepares the applications on your behalf. And by the way, if you need registration, we'll do it. A lot of companies don't. If you need plumbing, nursing, electrical, whatever, we do the registration process for you. All right, it's part of our services. It's built into our package prices, although if you require registration, we charge a little bit more to do the registration on your behalf. So you might already be registered, for example, so that, you wouldn't need to pay for. Okay, and then, so my division does all the visa work, all of the visa work, be it work visas, residency, student, investor, doesn't matter. My division, we sign off and submit all of the visa applications to Immigration New Zealand. Liz's division is Liz and Xenia is our HR division and relocation, and recruitment division. So they prepare the CVs, they do the LinkedIn profiles, and they clearly work with you in preparing submissions to prospective companies. But that doesn't mean you're not going to do it. All right, we're working with you. You're not sitting at home twiddling your thumbs and saying, right, where's my job offer? You're going to work just as hard as we are on helping you find a job. All right, so that's the second division. And the third division is this, relocation assistance. It's run by Rose Nightingale. Rose is actually my wife. And we've been doing this for so long. We're partnered not only in our home country, but we're partnered in New Zealand and Australia with the banks, with furniture removals, pets, flights, meet and greet at airports, car rentals, advice on schooling and accommodation and temporary, etc. So there's really nothing that we can't advise you on. And these particular services are free to put you in touch with our service providers so that they can quote you on their particular services. And over the years we've been doing this, we found the best banks and the best Forex people and the best furniture removal people and pet transport and car rentals. So there's really nothing that we can't assist you with, okay? Now, if you're going to engage us, these are the sorts of fees you're looking at. Somewhere between $4,500 to $9,000 for a family, or $7,500 odd New Zealand dollars for a single individual, including job search. That would be $7,500, for example. There's the full package. There's the visa process. So these are the things we'll actually send you. We'll be sending you processes and procedures on what we do and how we do it. So this is options for families here, and I think the previous one was options for singles. Oh, there we are. No, back and back and back. Single, yeah. So roughly, now you might say, well, listen, Andrew, I've already got a job in New Zealand. Great. Then you've just saved yourself $4,500 and we'll do the visa work for you. Or you might say, well, I'd just like you to help me find a job, Andrew. I don't need you to do the visa work. So you'd only pay us that, the $4,500 instead of the $4,500 and the $5,000. And we're quite happy to split fees. We give you payment plans that you can pay, and even sometimes you can even pay some of your fees while you're working in New Zealand, okay? So that is it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what I strongly suggest you do, ladies and gentlemen, because you are in a situation where getting advice from me is going to cost you nothing. Get the advice. Whether you use us or not is up to you. Okay, we're not the sort of company that once you have seen us that you're going to get 5 phone calls every day. Okay, where are you signing up? Are you signing? We're not. We just don't do that. All right. We might give you a gentle reminder in 2 months' time if fees are increasing or something's happening or whatever. But we do not pester you like 1 or 2 other agencies do. We're going to give you the advice. We'd be honoured to assist you, and we're very, very good at what we do. All right, but once we've given you advice, you then can make an informed decision on the process moving forward if you are going to move forward. It's as simple as that. So our initial advice in emails and whatever is free, and our consultations are free. Whether they are virtual or face-to-face, they are free. So please make use of them, okay? Because they are very valuable. I'm going to say something that I don't normally say. Well, I do normally say this part of it. We take this extremely seriously, guys. This is your life we're talking about here. All right? You're not buying a piece of furniture here or getting your car serviced. This is your life, and you're changing it in a very major way. So we take that extremely seriously. And I had a client come in to sit with me the other day, and they actually came on board with us. And they said, Andrew, we've actually gone now. You're our 3rd advisor that we've sat with face-to-face and met with. And you're the only one that has allowed us to ask all the questions without paying any money for a start. And secondly, giving us that warm, comfy feeling, if you like, that you're the type of company that we'd like to deal with. Because Desiree said it the other day. I said it to Desiree, you know, why do people use us, Des? And she said, you know why, Andrew? It's quite simple, because we care. So please make sure that if you're going to engage the services of somebody to help you change your lives in the next month to year to 2 years, make sure you trust them. Make sure you understand what you're paying for. Okay? I had a company the other day that I do not represent, and I never will represent, lie to a client and say that particular person that worked for the company, they weren't a licensed advisor, works for me. Well, that's just disgusting. Okay, I know who the company is. All right, that is just disgusting. All right, and why are they doing it? Because their younger staff are paid on a commission basis only. So, of course, you sign up with them, they get their comm check. Guys, I've been doing this a long time, and I really, really, really want you to understand, use someone where you know what you're paying for. What are you getting for that hard-earned money you're paying? Because sometimes you'll be promised the world and get under-delivered. I would rather, you know, come in at a level here, and at the end of it, you're saying, gosh, thank you so much. And if you really want to, we've got hundreds of comments, not only on our website, but from clients, and they're amazing when we get these comments, and we get them daily, just thanking us for our services, thanking us for sticking with our clients, thanking them for completing what we went out to do as a family. Because what happens, guys, is your family becomes our family, and I'd like to think vice versa. So all we ever ask you for, please, is treat us with the respect we treat you, and then we will, and we would be honored to take this journey with you. Okay? Alice, yeah, we do. But if you're working in South Africa, as Liz has just said to you, you'd need to show that you've either applied to stay legal in South Africa with Department of Home Affairs in South Africa, because if you're actually working here and you're not on a legal visa, it might not have been granted yet, but you've applied for it, and that's okay. Okay? So we do not discriminate which countries we work with at all. I know other agencies do, but we don't. But again, we're very realistic with you. For example, getting a visitor's visa if you're coming from a high-risk country. It's not that high risk, but it is deemed high risk. If you're coming from a high-risk country, maybe like Somalia or you know, Libya or those types of countries, it becomes extremely difficult to get visitors visas because they don't want you coming in and claiming asylum, because you're not allowed to. If you do that, they'll kick you out. But in kicking you out, it takes about 6 months and costs them $60,000, which is huge money. So they just don't let you in the first place. So we're going to be very upfront with you about your chances of success. And if you are from a foreign country and living in the country that now, you needed to have applied to become legal. Even if it's not through yet, you need to apply to become legal. But yeah, I mean, as Liz is just saying to everybody, and thanks, Liz, you know, be it Google Meet, Zoom, Skype, Teams, whatever, face-to-face in the offices, meetings, no problem at all, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, if you use our services after the meetings, as I said, we'd be honored to assist you and taking the journey with you. And if you don't, we would wish you all the very, very best anyway. So thank you so much for the couple of hundred people that have joined us this evening. I'm really proud or pleased to be able to have come across. Please forgive me for the first 5 minutes. I didn't realize the sound wasn't working that well, so hence the fact that please forgive me if some of you heard it and I repeated myself. But I'm going to be leaving now. I wish you all the very, very best in your migration journey, and clearly, please use the services we offer for the information that we can provide you on how this process works, what it costs, how long it's going to take, what type of documentation you require. This is why you'd be meeting with us. Thanks so much, everybody. You have a fantastic evening wherever you are, or a fantastic afternoon or morning. Stay safe, everybody. Ciao.